Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lizzie. If you are new here, I like to make book content. So today's video, I'm going to do my January wrap up. I talked about my December wrap up in my overall full year wrap up. So we are just jumping right into 2023. And this month I'm actually pretty impressed with myself. I read 8 books. Majority of them were on my Kindle, but I'll show a little snippet of the cover so you guys get the feel of it. Definitely like a wide range of books too this month, so I'm really excited and we're just gonna jump in. The first book I read on my Kindle was A Serpent of Wings and Night, and a lot of people have been comparing this to A Court of Thorn and Roses. I wouldn't say that. I would not say that. It has a similar vibe towards the end, but like not really. It's basically follows this girl. Her name's Araya. I think that's how you pronounce it. And she is a human in like this fae supernatural world, and she decides to join this supernatural Hunger Games basically to win. And her adoptive father is a vampire, so he's like really pushing for this, for her to get it and all this stuff. And along the way she ends up having to like team up with different people, but it's super entertaining. It's very like, the fight scenes are awesome. I love her as a character, and just like who she is, but I didn't think it was like insane. There wasn't anything super crazy about it. Again, I rated it 3.5 stars and I am excited for the next book, but there were definitely other books this month that I read that were fantasy romance that I thought were like way better, so I'll get into those later. The next book I read was a Hades and Persephone retelling, and if you guys don't know, I am team Hades. I will forever be team dark, brooding, kind of like, is he rude or is he just being like protective sort of guy? Like that is it. That is immaculate. So I read A Game of Fate by Scarlett St. Clair, and this is her like, it's not like a spin-off series, but she has a Hades and Persephone series, like the A Touch of Darkness, A Touch of Malice, A Touch of Ruin, all of those. And this series is like still part of it, but it's all from Hades' point of view. So it's the same stories that you've already been told from Persephone, but it's just all from Hades. So I definitely love it. I recommend it. It's a lot more of the underworld. It's a lot more like, I think it's funnier. It's less like, I don't know, I felt like towards the end of the book series, I was kind of getting annoyed with Persephone. But this is just Hades and I love him. So definitely recommend it. I gave it 3.25 stars. Again, it's just fantastic. I would highly recommend it. The next book I read was my only physical book of this month, and it was Ricochet. It is the second book in the Addicted to You series, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't really know how I was going to feel about it because it's mainly from Lily's point of view. Like Lo really isn't in it, but you get so many like memories from back when they were like kids, when they were really young. It's really good. And you also kind of get a glimpse into more of their lives together and like how they became what they became. So I really liked it. I am very excited for the next book, but if you didn't know, they're getting all new covers for the series. So the third book is like not available anywhere in physical copy, and I really want the physical book because I want the entire series. So I am waiting. But definitely recommend it. And I do have a reading vlog coming out for this, so look out for that as well. After reading Ricochet, I wanted like another romance. I was just like in the romance vibe. And so I decided to pick up Faking with Benefits, which I read on my Kindle and I gave 3 stars. Y'all, first of all, it is a deceiving cover because I was like, oh, it's just like a cute little romance. That's what it looks like on Kindle. It was definitely a lot. It's really heavy smut. If you don't like that, then I wouldn't recommend it. The author even left like a, hey, like just a heads up, this is what this book is going to be like, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore the author's note. It was still really good. It follows Layla, and she is just this girl boss. She runs her own like lingerie business, and she has like a 10-year plan that she's trying to like check off all of the boxes. And the last thing is to get married. And she is just not good at dating. And honestly, Larry reads, and then the very first page of this book is what had me hooked. And I was like, I'm reading it. She is on a first date and it is just going terribly. Like, you hear the question she's asking, you just internally cringe. It is so funny. And her roommates are on this podcast, and they give like dating advice. There's 3 of them, Zach, Josh, and Luke, and they're all very different personalities. They all have different things going on, different experiences, and they decide to take her. I don't know why I'm throwing my Kindle around like this. They decide to take her up on like a, hey, we'll help you date so you can like actually find somebody good for you. And so she goes on their podcast and she starts fake dating all 3 of them, and that's that. I liked that book so much. Just keeping with the romance theme, I picked up Black Knight by Raina Kent, and honestly, this book has been on my list for such a long time, so I finally got around to it. I know it's part of a series. I think it's like the Royal Elite or something. I had no interest in reading any of the other books, so I just picked up the one. And it follows Xander and Kimberly. Definitely look up trigger warnings. It's darker romance, but I really loved Kimberly. It has like, she's very much like loves her family and would do anything for them, and especially her little brother, and I love it. It's a friends to enemies to lovers sort of trope, so if you like that trope, again, look up trigger warnings, but it's a really good book. I gave it 4 stars. So moving out of romance to now fantasy romance, I read The Bridge Kingdom, and I gave that 4.5 stars. It follows Laura and Aaron, and basically Laura is this badass assassin trained woman who is set up to go and kill Aaron, who is the leader of her like enemy kingdom. And it's like forced marriage, forced proximity, you know, enemies to lovers. Love that. It felt like the traditional fantasy romance. So really good, loved it, 4.5 stars. Then I read The Traitor Queen, which is the second book in the series. I liked it, but it wasn't, I really thought maybe it was gonna be 5 stars. The beginning was very slow, like very slow. Like for the first like third of the book, I was like, okay, can we do something? Like there was a lot of talking and not a lot of doing. And then at the end, it ended so abruptly. Like I was like, oh, there's got to be a third book. There isn't, not about them at least. And it just, like, I felt like the beginning was so drawn out and took so long for something to actually happen. And then the ending was just like over. And not in like a, oh, we're going to move on to a third book. Like it was like you were just missing a couple of chapters. So if you'd shorten the beginning but I still like the middle. I loved it a lot, which is why I still rated it 4 stars. Really good. Recommend the series. I know there's other spin-offs. I think there's like gonna be 6 books in the series. So it's great though. Definitely recommend. And lastly, for this month, again on my Kindle, I read What Lies Beyond the Veil. And this has also been a book that's been on my radar for a really, really long time. And y'all, it did not disappoint. I gave it 4.5 stars. It is so good. I just ate it up, read it so fast. It follows Estrella, and she is on, there's like a fae world and a human world, and it gets split by this veil. And she is on the human side. But one day the veil comes down and she ends up getting this mark, and it's called like the fae marked, which means like she has a mate on the other side who's like waiting for her. And she ends up going on the run with her brother to try and like avoid being killed by the humans, because they believe like nothing's worse than being like a fae's mate and then also being taken by the fae to be taken to her mate, because they have like all this, like she doesn't want to be anybody's pet. She's very like independent. She's like, I don't want to get married ever. Like this is how she felt like before the veil even came down. And then afterwards they're kind of on a run for her life, and end up running into another guy who's fae marked. His name's Callum, and he starts like traveling with them and stuff, and it just kind of follows their story. Really great fighting scenes. The banter between her and Callum is awesome. I'm reading the second book, y'all. It just gets better. Like it just gets better because you learn so much more. But definitely loved it. Gave it 4.5 stars. Highly recommend. best fantasy romance I've read in such a long time. If you are looking for something to read after like ACOTAR or something, I know everyone says like A Serpent of Wings at Night, but honestly I would say What Lies Beyond the Veil. Like that book, yes. So those are all the books for my month of January. I hope everyone had a great reading month, and I will see you guys in the next video.